students. In last lecture we have studying about the addiction, how the addiction of different drugs are getting affected on our body. In today's lecture the remaining point related to this addiction or related to our human health and immunity power, some points are given in NCERT book that we have to study in this lecture, which are important for the NEET exam. So there are very short points related to this topic we have to study. First point here is the addiction of tobacco, smoking, and this smoking or addiction of tobacco is responsible for many diverse effects on our body, and we have to study what are those diverse effects. Every sentence of this point is very important for the NEET exam. So all this today's lecture and all these simple single points are very much important for the NEET exam that we have to study. So as we know, the tobacco is smoked, chewed or used as a snuff. Tobacco is used for smoking, tobacco is used for chewing, and sometimes it is snuffed. Snuffed म्हणजे जशी तपकीर आपण नाकाने ओढतो त्या पद्धतीने हे तंबाखू सुद्धा काय केली जाते, नाकाने ओढली जाते. So these are the three methods of this tobacco addiction. Now this tobacco contains a large amount of chemical substances which is called as a nicotine. It is an alkaloid. त्या तंबाखूमध्ये काय असतं, निकोटीन असतं, and this nicotine is having adverse effect on our body. This nicotine is responsible for secretion of adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones from our adrenal gland. As we have studied, adrenal gland secreting two types of hormones. Out of that, adrenal cortex hormones are different and adrenal medulla hormones are separate. From that, adrenal medulla is secreting adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones, which are responsible for increasing the heart pressure or blood pressure and heart rate. And these adrenal medulla hormones are getting to be secreted in more amount from this adrenal gland due to the intake of nicotine. Means when we are taking tobacco as in smoked condition or chewed condition or snuffed condition, this nicotine is coming inside our body, and that nicotine is responsible for secretion of adrenaline and noradrenaline hormone from this adrenal gland, and it is increasing our heart rate and blood pressure, and therefore it is having harmful effect on our body because there is sudden increase in blood pressure of our body. So the tobacco is avoided, tobacco addiction is avoided due to this reason. Then again we have known that this smoking is associated with increased rate of cancer, that mouth cancer or tongue cancer or lung cancer. So the different types of cancers are to be produced by this tobacco addiction. This is one we can say here effect of this cancer. Then urinary bladder cancer, throat cancer, bronchitis, emphysema, CAD and gastric ulcer. So there are a number of different effects or these actions which are taking place with the help of this nicotine or this tobacco chewing. So this is the most important harmful effect in the body. Then this tobacco smoking is associated with a high risk of the cancer of oral cavity. When we are continuously use tobacco smoking, there is high risk of the cancer of oral cavity, that we have to understand here. Then we are also know that smoking increases the carbon monoxide content in our body, because there is combustion of this nicotine in while smoking of bidi or cigarette, and there is formation of carbon monoxide in blood, and as you know, carbon monoxide poisoning it takes place in our body because hemoglobin is having higher affinity than oxygen towards the carbon monoxide, and therefore when there is increasing percentage of carbon monoxide in our body, there is concentration of hembound oxygen is going on decreasing, and it is showing oxygen deficiency in the body. जे लोक टोबॅको स्मोकिंग करतात, बिडी किंवा सिगरेट ओढतात, त्यांच्यामध्ये काय होतं, कार्बन मोनॉक्साईडचा जो धूर तयार झालेला असतो तो त्यांच्या शरीरामध्ये जातो आणि त्याच्यामध्ये कार्बन मोनॉक्साईड असतो, आणि तो कार्बन मोनॉक्साईड आपल्या शरीरामध्ये गेला तर हिमोग्लोबिनची ऑक्सिजनशी कंबाईनची क्षमता कमी होते आणि कार्बन मोनॉक्साईडशी तो बाइंड होतो आणि त्यामुळे ऑक्सिजनची कमतरता त्या शरीरामध्ये झालेली बघायला मिळते. सो दीज आर द डिफरंट इफेक्ट्स ऑफ दिस टोबॅको. नाव what is meant by addiction? The definition is given in this NCERT book. Addiction is a physiological attachment to a certain effect such as euphoria and temporary feeling of the well-being associated with drugs and alcohol. म्हणजे काय होतं की ॲडिक्शन म्हणजे जे व्यसनी लोक आहेत त्या व्यसनी लोकांना असं वाटत असतं की हे व्यसन केल्यामुळं मला खूप छान वाटतं, माझ्यामध्ये खूप छान उत्साह निर्माण होतो आणि त्यामुळं ते काय करत असतात, ड्रग आणि अल्कोहोलचा वापर करत असतात आणि ह्या सवयीमुळं ते ॲडिक्ट होतात. एखाद दिवशी सिगरेट ओढून बघूया काय होते, तर त्यांना छान वाटतं म्हणून दुसऱ्या दिवशी ओढली जाते, परत तिसऱ्या दिवशी, परत चौथ्या दिवशी, असं करत करत त्याला कधी व्यसन लागते हे त्याचं त्याला पण कळत नाही. तसंच अल्कोहोलच्या बाबतीमध्ये पण आहे. आणि दॅट फिजिओलॉजिकल अटॅचमेंट टू सर्टन ड्रग्स अँड केमिकल्स इट इज कॉल्ड एज अ ॲडिक्शन. दिस इज सायकॉलॉजिकल अटॅचमेंट, म्हणजे मानसिकदृष्ट्या तो त्या गोष्टीशी म्हणजे अल्कोहोल असेल किंवा टोबॅको असेल किंवा ड्रग्ज असतील त्याच्याशी तो सायकॉलॉजिकली अटॅच झालेला असतो आणि त्यामुळे त्याला असं वाटत असतं की मी जर हे नाही खाल्लं तर मला कामच करता येणार नाही, मला चांगलं वाटणारच नाही, माझ्यामध्ये उत्साह निर्माण होणारच नाही. ही कंडिशन जी आहे ह्याला ॲडिक्शन म्हणलेलं आहे. आणि मग याचा परिणाम कशावरती होतो तर दीज पर्सन्स आर कम्प्लिटली डिपेंडिंग ऑन धिस ॲडिक्टेड सबस्टन्सेस. सतत त्यांना त्याचं व्यसन लागल्यामुळे तीच गोष्ट करायची इच्छा होते आणि दे आर बिकमिंग डिपेंडंट ऑन दॅट alcohol or on that drug or tobacco. So here it is the tendency of the body to manifest a characteristic and unpleasant withdrawal syndrome if regular dose of drugs or alcohol is abruptly discontinued. म्हणजे काय होतं की चुकून एखाद्या दिवशी ड्रग घेतलं नाही, अल्कोहोल घेतलं नाही किंवा सिगरेट ओढली नाही तर मला काहीच करता येणार नाही अशी भावना त्यांच्या मनामध्ये निर्माण होती आणि त्यामुळं एखाद दिवशी जरी त्याचं इथं काय झालं रेग्युलर डोस चुकला, डिस्कंटिन्यूड झाला तर त्यांच्या मनामध्ये असे अनेक ते सैरभैर होतं, त्यांना काही सुचत नाही. अँड दॅट कंडिशन इज कॉल्ड एज हिअर डिपेंडन्स. सो ॲडिक्शन अँड डिपेंडन्स दिस बोथ आर द इंटररिलेटेड पॉईंट्स वी हॅव टू नोटीस हिअर. नाव द नेक्स्ट पॉईंट हिअर इज द वॅक्सिनेशन. what is mean by vaccination that we have know, but for neat point view of exam we have to study this point. Vaccination is a preparation of antigenic proteins of pathogen or inactivated recurred pathogens, that is vaccines, are introduced into the body. In vaccination the pathogen is taken and that pathogen is becoming inactive, that is we have to make inactive pathogen, that is also called as a attenuated pathogen, or we can call it as a inactivated or recurrent pathogen, and that pathogen is introduced into the body. And when these inactivated pathogen or recurrent pathogen are getting introduced in our body, our immune system is producing different antibodies to fight against that antigenic preparation. That is the process which is carried in this vaccination program. It is the antigenic protein of that particular pathogen which is responsible for the formation of antibodies in our body by the immunity system. So in this vaccination the antibodies are produced against this antigen would neutralize the pathogenic effect, and the vaccine also generate B and T cells. So by introducing the vaccine in our body, our immune system is getting responsible for the formation of B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. This is another effect of this vaccine. Recombinant that is rDNA technology is also used to produce antigenic polypeptides of pathogen and bacteria and yeast. So nowadays with the help of this biotechnology technique, rDNA technology, that is recombinant DNA technology, that you will study in the next topic in our syllabus. So this rDNA technology is also used for the preparation of antigenic polypeptides in some bacteria and viruses or yeast, and this example here is the hepatitis vaccine is produced by using the yeast. That you have to remember, the vaccine against hepatitis म्हणजे काविळीवरची लस तयार केलेली आहे, ती लस कशापासून तयार केलेली आहे, yeast वापरून तयार केलेली आहे. And the technology used here is the rDNA technology. So here in vaccination, inactivated or weakened pathogen or antigenic preparation of the protein, it is used to form the antibodies, that you have to remember. Next here, immunization. Vaccination and immunization, the processes are same, but there is little bit difference in between these processes. So what is meant by immunization? Infection of deadly microbes takes place and it requires quick immune response. Suppose deadly poisonous chemicals are coming inside our body, some snake bites are there, or some any other highly hazardous infection is taking place in our body, then we have to use क्विक इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स. तिथं अँटीबॉडीज तयार करेपर्यंत शरीराकडे वेळ असणार नाही. अचानक समजा साप चावला आपल्याला किंवा एखादा विषारी नाग चावला तर पटकन आपल्या बॉडीला काय झालं पाहिजे, इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स दाखवता आला पाहिजे, नाहीतर ते अँटीजेन्स आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये लगेच इन्फेक्शन स्प्रेड करू शकतात. सो इन दॅट केस इम्युनायझेशन प्रोसेस इज युज्ड. फॉर एक्झाम्पल इन टिटॅनस, टिटॅनस म्हणजे धनुर्वात आपण म्हणतो, वी नीड टू डायरेक्टली इंजेक्ट प्री फॉर्म्ड अँटीबॉडीज. means here antibodies are already formed and that are used to cure this infection. In vaccination we are using the pathogen which is inactivated, and after introduction of that pathogen the antibodies are produced by our body. That is the process of vaccination. But in immunization what happens, already prepared antibodies are used to show the immune response against the pathogen. So here these antibodies which are preformed, that is also called as an antitoxin, a preparation containing antibodies to the toxin. That toxin which is getting infected by the pathogen, to neutralize that toxin some antitoxins or some preformed antibodies are produced, and it is called as immunization here. Now in case of snake bites, the साप चावल्यानंतर the injection contain preformed antibodies against the snake venom. स्नेक वेनम म्हणजे सापाचं विष, वेनम म्हणजे विष. सापाच्या विषाच्या विरोधात लढण्यासाठी डॉक्टरांच्याकडे आपण गेलो साप चावल्यानंतर, ते इंजेक्शन आपल्याला देतात. त्या इंजेक्शनमध्ये ऑलरेडी तयार केलेले अँटीबॉडीज असतात, अँड दॅट प्रोसेस इज कॉल्ड ॲज अ इम्युनायझेशन. आणि ज्या वेळेला पॅथोजनला इनॅक्टिव्ह करून आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये सोडलं जातं आणि मग आपल्या बॉडीमध्ये अँटीबॉडीज तयार होतात, त्या प्रोसेसला आपण काय म्हणणार आहे, वॅक्सिनेशन. आय होप यू अंडरस्टँड द डिफरन्स बिटवीन वॅक्सिनेशन अँड इम्युनायझेशन. So here this type of immunization is called as a passive immunization. As we have seen active immunity and passive immunity, vaccination is the active process because the body is responsible for the formation of antibodies, and immunization is the passive immunity because already prepared antibodies are used in our body. So this is the difference between vaccination and immunization. Now related to that there is one question. पर्सन likely to develop tetanus is immunized by administrative. एक पर्सन आहे त्याला टिटॅनसचं इन्फेक्शन झालेलं आहे, तर आपण त्याच्यामध्ये काय वापरू शकतो, रेड जर्म्स, प्रीफॉर्म्ड अँटीबॉडीज, वाईड स्पेक्ट्रम अँटीबायोटिक्स अँड विकन्ड जर्म्स. कुठलं आपण प्रेफरेबली वापरू शकणार आहे टिटॅनसच्या इन्फेक्शनमध्ये. सो ॲज जस्ट वी हॅव स्टडीड इन टिटॅनस इन्फेक्शन अँड इन स्नेक बाईट इन्फेक्शन वी हॅव टू यूज ऑलरेडी प्रिपेअर्ड antibodies. So here B option is the correct answer. In case of tetanus, the immunization can be takes place with the help of preformed antibodies. Okay. Now this next point here is the allergies. What is mean by allergy? आपण म्हणतो एखाद्याला थंड हवेची ॲलर्जी असते, एखाद्याला फुलाचा वास घेतला की ॲलर्जी असते, एखाद्याला आंबट काय पदार्थ खाल्लं की काहीतरी वेगळे. ॲलर्जी म्हणजे काय, काही काही वेगवेगळे रिस्पॉन्स आपल्या बॉडी करून एखाद्या सबस्टन्सच्या विरोधात तयार होतं. That is called as allergy. Here it is an exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called as allergy. There are some different kinds of antigens which are present in the environment, and if those antigens are coming inside our body, our immune system is showing exaggerated response. अतिशय वेगळ्या पद्धतीचा रिस्पॉन्स आपल्या बॉडीकडून दाखवला जातो. They are not preparing any antibody, but they are giving some other response. That is called as an exaggerated response, and that condition of this response is called as allergy. For example, allergy of pollens and mites. कोणाला एखादी साधी मुंगी चावली तर अंगावरती पूर्णपणे लाल लाल पुरळ उठतात किंवा लाल लाल अशा फोडी उठल्यासारखं उठतं. काही न उठतील, काही न उठणार नाहीत, काही न डास चावलीची ॲलर्जी असते. अशा अनेक प्रकारच्या ॲलर्जीज आपल्याला माहिती आहे. सो हिअर द अँटीबॉडीज प्रोड्युस्ड टू दीज आर IgE टाईप. त्या अँटीबॉडीज तयार होतात ते कोणत्या टाईपचे असतात, IgE टाईपचे असतात. दॅट यू हॅव टू रिमेंबर. द अँटीबॉडीज विच आर प्रोड्युस्ड अगेन्स्ट ॲलर्जी, दोज आर कॉल्ड एज IgE type, that you have to remember. Now the substances which are causing allergy, the antigens which are responsible for production of allergy, those are called as allergens. The substances to which such an immune response is produced are called as allergens. Means here the substances which are responsible for producing allergy in our body, or they are showing some specific immune response in our body, those substances are called as allergens. For example, here dust particles, काही ना धुळीची ॲलर्जी असते, जरा जरी धूळ आली की लगेच त्यांना खोकला आणि शिंका यायला सुरुवात होते, नाक गळायला लागते. द डस्ट पार्टिकल, पोलन्स, काही ना फुलांचा वास घेतला की शिंका आणि खोकला सुरू होतो. ॲनिमल टेंडर, दॅट इज डेड स्किन सेल्स ऑर फर, हेअर्स अँड फिदर्स, पक्ष्यांचे टिसा असतात किंवा पंख असतात, त्याच्यामधून बारीक बारीक असे धागे बाहेर पडतात, त्याचीसुद्धा काहींना ॲलर्जी असते. सो दीज आर द डिफरंट factors responsible for allergy and these are called as allergens. These are different examples of these allergens that you have to remember. Now what are the symptoms of the allergic reactions that we have to study here? The symptoms are sneezing, watery eyes, running nose and difficulty in breathing. All these symptoms are related to our respiratory system. There is a sneezing म्हणजे शिंक येते, watery eyes डोळ्यातून पाणी येतं, runny nose नाकातून पाणी गळायला लागतं, आणि डिफिकल्टी इन ब्रीदिंग श्वास घ्यायला त्रास होतो. सो दीज आर द डिफरंट सिम्पटम्स. नाउ विच केमिकल्स आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर ॲलर्जी? मीन्स व्हेन these allergens are coming inside our body is showing these different types of responses or reactions. So which chemical is responsible for this allergic reaction? That is, we have already studied that histamine chemical, it is produced by our blood cells, and this allergy is due to the release of chemicals like histamine and serotonin from the mast cell and antibody IgE type. So here the serotonin and histamine chemicals are responsible for the development of these allergic reactions which are secreted by our mast cells. Mast cells, as you know, these are present in our areolar connective tissue. 4 types of cells are present. Out of that, mast cells are present in areolar connective tissue. So these cells are secreting histamine and serotonin which are showing these allergic reactions in our body. So here reduction in symptom of allergy. How to reduce these symptoms of allergy, that we have to see. The use of drugs like here histamine, antihistamine and adrenaline, some steroid hormones which are used to stop or to quickly relieve from the symptoms of this allergy. So to reduce this reaction of these allergens or to reduce the allergic reactions, we have to use here some chemicals, that is antihistamine substances, adrenaline and some steroid substances that giving relief from this allergic reaction. So all these are points related to allergy. I hope you understand the points related to allergy. Now the question related to that, use of antihistamines and steroids give quick relief from. Antihistamine and here steroids are giving relief from dash allergy, nausea, cough and headache. What is the answer that we have just studied? The allergy is to be reduced by using antihistamine and steroids. Okay. Now next point here, next question is here, asthma may be attributed to. Asthmic जे पेशंट असतात त्यांच्यामध्ये अस्थमाचा अटॅक येतो, तो कशामुळे होऊ शकतो? ह्या चारपैकी असं विचारलेलं आहे. ॲलर्जिक रिॲक्शन ऑफ द मास्ट सेल्स इन द लंग्स, इन्फ्लामेशन ऑफ द ट्रॅकिया, accumulation of the fluid in the lungs and bacterial infection to the lungs. So related to our allergy point here, the first answer option is the answer, allergic reaction of the mast cells in the lungs that may attribute to the asthma. जे यांच्यामुळे सुद्धा अस्थमाचे जे सिम्पटम्स असतील त्या व्यक्तींच्या मध्ये ते आपल्याला बघायला मिळू शकतील when mast cells in the lungs are secreting this histamine. So this is the answer. Now the next point here, short point, is autoimmunity. What is mean by autoimmunity? Auto means self and immunity means pratikar kshamta. So our self immunity is responsible for causing some disorders or causing some diseases. So here sometimes due to genetic and other unknown reasons, the body attacks self cells and this results to damage of our self cells and it is called as autoimmune disease. Means some genetic problem is there or some other unknown reasons are there due to which our immune system is disturbing our self cells. They are getting attacked on our self cells and that condition is called as autoimmune disorder. जी काही वेळेला आपलीच प्रतिकार क्षमता आपल्याच शरीरामधल्या सेलवरती काय करते, अटॅक करते. त्या कंडिशनला आपण इथं ऑटोइम्युन डिसऑर्डर म्हणणार आहे. याच्यामध्ये बेस्ट एक्झाम्पल्स आहेत रिमेटाइड आर्थ्रिटिस, मेस्थेनिया ग्रॅव्हिस, इन्सुलिन डिपेंडेंट डायबिटीज, क्रोनिक ॲनेमिया, क्रोनिक हेपॅटायटिस अँड हशिमोटोज डिसीज. So these are the different examples of this autoimmune disorder. In exam, we have to identify that dash dash is the autoimmune disorder. From that, one option is there. So rheumatoid arthritis, myasthenia gravis, these both are related to our skeletal system. Insulin dependent diabetes, it is related to pancreatic disorder. Chronic anemia, रक्ताची कमतरता म्हणू शकतो. क्रोनिक हेपॅटायटिस म्हणजे कावीळ आणि हशिमोटोज डिसीज हा एक वेगळाच डिसीज आपल्याला इथे बघायला मिळते. हे सगळे ऑटोइम्युन डिसऑर्डर आहेत विच आर showing the autoimmune disorder. So related to that there is one question. In higher vertebrates the immune system can distinguish self and non-self cell. If this property is lost due to genetic abnormality and it attacks self cells, then it leads to, in vertebrates the immunity system is having ability to differentiate self and non-self, that we have seen in previous some lectures, that in vertebrates the specific acquired immunity is present and this acquired immunity is responsible for differentiating between self and non-self cells. And if this ability is lost, what will happen? So it leads to graft rejection, autoimmune disease, active immunity or allergic response. So what will happen? As just we have seen, it is leading to autoimmune disease because our body's immune system is not able to distinguish between self cells and non-self cells. Okay. Now another question, another next point here is the immune system of the body. It is for neat purpose we have to study this point. Our immune system is consisting of lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, lymphoid cells and soluble molecules like antibodies. Means our lymphatic system is particularly responsible for immune system, that is lymphoid organs, lymphoid tissues, lymphoid cells and some molecules which are soluble molecules like antibodies. These all are included in our immune system that we have to remember. Now what are the lymphoid organs that we have to study and which is the primary lymphoid organ and which is the secondary lymphoid organ, that also we have to study in this point. So lymphoid organs, these are the organs where origin, maturation and proliferation of lymphocytes occur. As we know, particularly lymphocytes are the major cells which are related to our immune system. There are lymphocytes and antigen presenting cells. These two cells are responsible for our acquired immunity and therefore these lymphocytes are showing here, they are originated, maturated and showing proliferation at some organs and those organs are called as the lymphoid organs. Means the lymphocytes are originated, they are maturated and they are showing proliferation in some particular organs and those organs are called as the lymphoid organs. So here the primary lymphoid organ is the bone marrow and thymus gland. As you know, lymphocyte is a type of WBC and all blood cells are formed in our bone marrow as just we have seen in the circulation chapter. So here primary lymphoid organ is the bone marrow and as we know the lymphocytes are getting maturated in thymus gland because T lymphocytes are there which are maturated in thymus gland. So here bone marrow and thymus gland are the primary lymphoid organ or the main lymphoid organs where immature lymphocytes are differentiated into antigen sensitive lymphocytes. Means lymphocytes are getting maturated and they are having ability to sense the antigen and this ability is going to be developed in bone marrow and thymus gland. Therefore this bone marrow and thymus glands are considered as the primary lymphoid organ. म्हणजे ह्या लिम्फोसाईटला त्या अँटीजेनला ओळखण्याची ॲबिलिटी जी आहे ती कुठं तयार केली जाते, त्या बोन मॅरोमध्ये आणि थायमसमध्ये, म्हणून ह्याला लिम्फोइड ऑर्गनमध्ये कन्सिडर केलेलं आहे. सो हिअर आफ्टर मॅच्युरेशन these lymphocytes migrate to secondary lymphoid organs like spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches of the small intestine and appendix. Means after maturation, these lymphocytes which are formed, which are antigen sensing lymphocytes, these are transferred or migrated to other organs which are called as a secondary lymphoid organs. These are included spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches of small intestine and appendix. All these structures you have known. So firstly they are formed in bone marrow and thymus gland, so they are primary lymphoid organs, and then they are stored in these organs, and therefore these organs are called as the secondary lymphoid organs. For NEET exam we have to remember bone marrow and thymus glands are called as the primary lymphoid organs, and spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches of small intestine, appendix are considered as secondary lymphoid organs. Okay. Now these secondary lymphoid organs are providing sites for interaction of lymphocytes with antigen, which then proliferate to become the effector cell. So in this secondary lymphoid organ, what happens? These lymphocytes are getting differentiated into various types. As we know, T lymphocytes are differentiated into helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells or killer T cells, suppressor T cells and memory T cells. So these differentiation of lymphocytes can be taking place in these secondary lymphoid organs, and these are having interaction with the antigen, and which then proliferates to become effector cell. So all these maturation is taking place in this secondary lymphoid organ, that we have to remember. So here bone marrow is the main lymphoid organ where all blood cells including lymphocytes are produced. So bone marrow here is called as a primary lymphoid organ because the lymphocytes are firstly produced in bone marrow. So it is primary lymphoid organ and remaining are the secondary lymphoid organ. The thymus is a long organ, that is as we have studied, this is about the thymus gland. It is present beneath the heart and beneath the breastbone. So both bone marrow and thymus provides microenvironment for the development of maturation of T lymphocytes. So here bone marrow and thymus gland are providing some specific environment which is required for the maturation of T lymphocytes, and therefore these lymphoid organs, bone marrow and thymus gland, are considered as the primary lymphoid organs. Okay. Now spleen, it is the secondary lymphoid organ here. Spleen is a larger bean-shaped organ mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. Spleen is present near the stomach. A small bean-shaped organ is there which is consisting of lymphocyte and phagocytes. The spleen is acting as a filter of the body by trapping the blood-borne microorganisms. Because this spleen is having lymphocytes and phagocytes, so they are engulfing microorganisms which are present in blood and bone marrow, and therefore they are acting as a filter. Also this spleen is having large reservoir of erythrocytes because the spleen is involved in the formation of erythrocytes in the younger stage, in the fetus stage, but later on bone marrow is forming the erythrocytes, and those bone marrow which are forming erythrocytes, these erythrocytes are then migrated into the spleen, and spleen is acting as a reservoir. म्हणजे तयार झालेले RBC जे आहेत त्या RBC स्टोअर करण्याचं काम कोणाचं आहे, स्प्लीनचं आहे. सो वी हॅव टू रिमेंबर what is the where the erythrocytes are reserved or dash is the reservoir of erythrocyte. खाली 4 ऑर्गनची नावं दिलेली असतात तर त्यामध्ये उत्तर आपल्याला लक्षात ठेवायचं आहे. स्प्लीन इज द रिझर्वायर ऑफ द erythrocytes. Now next point here is the lymph nodes. As we have studied about the lymphatic system, the lymph nodes are present in our body at the various locations. So here the lymph nodes are solid structures located at the different points along the lymphatic system that we have studied in the circulation chapter. There are different neck region, groin region, leg region, or abdominal region, different regions from where lymph nodes are present. These lymph nodes are trapping microorganisms and other antigens in the lymph and tissue fluid. Means while blood circulation or lymphatic circulation, if the foreign molecules or foreign substances or some pathogens are there, they are trapped by these lymph nodes from this fluid, and then antigens trapped by the lymph nodes are responsible for production of lymphocytes, causing the immune response, development of antibodies. So here lymph nodes are playing important role for capturing the antigens or capturing the microorganisms which are coming inside our body, in our tissue fluid or in our lymph fluid. That is, remember this point. The last point of this chapter is the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. It is called as a MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. So here the lymphoid tissue is also located in the lining of the major tracts. There are different tracts: respiratory tract, digestive tract, urogenital tract, and in these different tracts there is a mucosa layer, as we have seen: serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. All our different tracts, digestive tract, respiratory tract, urogenital tract, all these tracts are having these four layers: outermost serosa, second muscularis, third submucosa, and innermost is mucosa. So here some of the lymphoid tissue is associated with the mucosa layer of these different tracts: respiratory tract, digestive tract or urogenital tract, and that tissue which is present in this mucosa of these tracts are called as a mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. So here it consists of about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in human body. So all these tracts which are present in our body, from that mucosa layer is showing presence of 50% of the lymphoid tissue. This lymphoid tissue is present in the mucosa layer of these different tracts, and therefore this is called as a mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, and it is present up to 50% in the human body. So here related to that, one question is asked in 2017. MALT constitutes about -% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body. So here just we have seen the A option, 50% is the MALT tissue which is present in our body. So this is the question. So you have to remember what is meant by MALT, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue. That is the long form of MALT, and here the question is there. So here we have completed this large topic, human health and diseases. This topic consisting of what is meant by health, our immunity system, different types of diseases, then drug and alcohol abuse, and last some points related to NEET exam. So I hope you understand this topic. If you have any query or if you have any problem, you contact me on my WhatsApp number. Till then, thank you.